Welcome to Feedback Fridays. I'm Lara Heimann. I'm a physical therapist and the creator of the LIT Yoga Method. This is where I give you feedback on your movement to improve alignment so you can feel your best. Today we have Julie Glick, and I'm about to look at her sequence, her movement, and give her feedback. So here we go, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie Glick. I've been practicing yoga for 21 years and lit yoga for a year and a half. Can't wait for your feedback, Lara. Here goes.
Julie was also a gymnast, so she has a lot of extension patterning in her movement. You can kind of see it a little bit here in Tadasana, and she's really worked on that. When she steps back, watch when she comes up, that extension is still happening, but her pelvis is tilting. And so let's just watch her. She does a twist here, but you can see how the pelvis is not neutral, and that is when she comes into that side lunge, that right knee moves forward more. So I'm just going to pause here and show you what I mean by that. So when she was in her lunge, she was coming and her spine was upright, but her pelvis was staying tipped. So she would do her twist from that. And then when she went into the side lunge, boom, knee goes forward. So Julie, what you want to think about is your spine is upright, but you're going to bend your knee more and really pull this pubic bone up to get yourself out of that pelvic tilt. Because when you go from here into the side lunge, the knee goes forward as opposed to the hip going back. So bend the knee more, hinge at the hip. Let's see what's next. Okay, this looks beautiful. Nice long spine. And three-legged down dog. Now as she opens up, Julie, your hip is opening, but your pelvis is also opening. So really work on just opening the hip and not the pelvis, because I can see your low back starting to want to move. Like right there, hold the hip in external rotation. This has a lot of extension in it. So you can really see Julie, you're a little bit too much in the extension patterning. So I'm going to pause. Well, let's keep going there so even in this, there's the head. The head is the problem, I think. Let your chin release and take some extension out. So I'll just pause that for a moment and show you what I'm talking about, Julie. So first, when you're in your three-legged down dog, your hip was up and you just piked that pelvis a little bit. So hold that, because again, that movement is going to incline you into more of a sink of too much extension in the lumbar spine, really from the pelvis. That fallen triangle looked great, except there's a little bit of a thrust of the ribs. Draw the sternum toward the bottom of the rib, like really draw that to the bottom of the rib cage. Then when you came around for your warriors, your head is leading, so let the chin drop to the chest and side bend, because when that chin goes up even a little bit, there's that extension, and that's that part of that Tadasana. So we need to kind of calm it down so the pelvis can be more neutral. Very graceful, Julie, really, really graceful. Side plank looks good. Keep your chin in towards your throat though. Just a little bit more. Shoulders look good. Core looks strong. Down dog, very nice. Now that pelvis is starting to want to lift. I can feel it. So lower that leg when you do the lift switch. But that was beautiful. For Warrior One, honestly, Julie, I think I would just do a crescent lunge, because I see that pelvis is struggling in the anterior tilt. This whole sequence looks great, except get deeper flexion in your left hip, and the right leg shouldn't be quite as high, but everything else looks really nice. Very graceful. I can see the gymnast in you and the grace here. And again, lower that right leg, or lower that right leg. You're starting to lower it, but deepen into hip flexion. So this is really common when the anterior tilt is in the brain mapping for years. Even when you've gotten a lot better, which you have, Julie, that hip flexion is still harder to get. You can see it there as well. It's harder in that in range. So in your crescent, get that pubic bone up a little bit more. And then here we go, same thing. So I would really, you're bending that knee, that back knee, but get your pubic bone up more and the rib cage pulled back over the pelvis. I know those are subtle but really important things and hard to do, so that that left knee doesn't go forward as much in your side lunge. Watch the head, chin is neutral, let the head relax, but don't try and look up at the ceiling. Even the gaze looking up at the ceiling can pull you into more of that extension. That side looks a little better with the hip the pelvis not overly lifting. But make the movement smaller so it's not at all, you're restricting any movement of the pelvis. So stop right there, even lower that right hip a little bit. Beautiful, this looks nice. Your head looks like it wasn't trying to overly, right there, it's relaxing, that's great. And then I know you're coming into your warrior two, so you can really see it from here. The low back is pitched a little bit. I know you have some spondylolisthesis because I know you. So pull the pubic bone up more, deepen the left hip flexion, but that might require, in fact, to straighten the left knee a bit, if that makes sense. I'll show that in a moment. Yeah, and all through this side plank series, just watch the busyness of the eyes. You don't have to look up at the ceiling, but that takes you more into you're gonna have to fight the rib cage from wanting to thrust a little bit. You're managing it well though. That right leg looks great. Now rise up on your left toes more, so you're just bending the knee. And that gives you a spring, but you could get more spring by rising up on your toes. And Julie, this is such great work, especially with the history of what I already know is anterior tilt. Like to deeply flex into that right hip. I know it takes a lot of work and it's fine to lose your balance. That looks great. Keep feeling like you're trying to pull your skull back in line over the cervical spine, so it's slightly forward. Now here is where when you bounce a couple times, you're really just going from a full foot on the floor and knee bent. I think you would do better off, yes, Julie, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. So that last handstand hop, and you did this in the three-legged down dog as well. You're going from a full foot and really pushing off. So there's a lot more momentum or things you have to control. But if you get your shoulders over the wrists, come up on the ball of the foot, and that's that deep hip flexion, and push the floor away, you'll have more control than the way you were doing it. You were kind of getting way up and having to zoom the bottom leg up. So be up on the ball of the foot, push just the ball of the foot, catch yourself and slowly come up. So your warrior one, a little bit pitched forward. It's going to be so hard to not do that. I would take the heel off the ground. And then continue getting the head over the center of the spine so that you're not inclined to do that or it's forward. It's just a little adjustment there, but all of that movement of the head, it signals to the whole body to do that extension and just needing to pull in a little bit more. We know, Julie, since I've been working with you, how much this has changed. But this little tweaks for your practice, taking the head out of the game so you're not getting so much extension, moving into that hip inflection more and more, that's going to help that those tiny little movements and get you even more consolidated. So for anybody out there that's looking to feel your best, please submit a video to the link below so I can help you get more lit up. Thank you so much.